Hey folks, it's Tom and FrugalPrepper. I'm just out here on the back porch this morning. I didn't go for a walk this morning because it's raining and I just didn't really want to walk in the rain, so I'm out here. So I'm going to start off all my keto carnivore videos, or try to, with a brief history of my health, right? So that people realize, because there's a lot of comments that are left by people that don't realize where I'm coming from. And they tell me how unhealthy I'm eating, when actually I'm eating healthy for the first time in my life. I'm eating a proper human diet. So I'm 49 years old. When I was 28, I was diagnosed as a diabetic. My first A1C when I was diabetic was 17. I could not get a reading with the blood glucose meter at the doctor's office. It just said high because it maxed out at 550, I believe. And I was peeing all the time and drinking like crazy and just felt like crap. And I went to the doctor to find out why. Found out I was diabetic. They gave me some immediate insulin in the doctor's office, put me on 5 metformin a day. Through the next 5 or 6 months there, I really watched my carbohydrates. I tried to stay to less than 100 grams a day. I lost some weight, and then I went through a breakup with a girlfriend, a really bad breakup, and I decided that I wanted to get thin so that I could find me another woman and be happy, and I was going to lose the weight. So I went on a fast. That fast lasted 3 months, and I lost 80 or 85 pounds, and then I wasn't diabetic for a while. Right towards the end of that fast, I met my wife online on Yahoo Personals, and we talked on Yahoo Personals, and we called each other, and then a couple months later we went out, and I asked her to marry me on my second date with her, and we got married just a couple months later, and we've been together now like 14 years. And I'm very happily married. I love my wife and she loves me very much. Through all of that though, when I got remarried, I started eating bread and pasta and carbohydrates again. I put the weight right back on. I soared up, and the pills didn't work, like different diabetic pills. And I went back on Lantus, and Lantus constantly increased over the years. I got fatter and fatter, a little at a time. And then I quit my job. I went to work somewhere where I could get free doctor visits for a hospital. And I had an endocrinologist, cardiologist, nephrologist, gastroenterologist, surgeons. I had a torn rotator cuff in my left arm. I couldn't lift my left arm more than like this much. Now I can lift it fine. It doesn't hurt at all. I had a bad knee that I was going to have a knee replacement surgery on. I had plantar fasciitis. I had diabetic ulcers on my legs and feet that were going to get infected one day, and I'd have to have my feet amputated. My kidney function's always been fine though, but I started going blind from diabetic retinopathy. My last visit to the endocrinologist's office, I was on 300 to 350 units a day, depending on how much fast-acting insulin I tried to take to get my sugars below 300. And I had an A1C come back of 14, and I was 458 pounds. And I felt like crap. I could hardly walk in from my car to work. So I went on keto at first, and now I'm carnivore, pure carnivore pretty much, though I do occasionally have some vegetables. I'll have a little bit of broccoli now and then. I'll have some spaghetti squash, just a cup of that now and then. It's extremely rare. It's like once every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, right? I will eat some pickles. I will eat some jalapenos occasionally, although they do inflame me, so I try not to eat too many. I go out to the raspberry bush here this time of year, and I pick a handful of raspberries once in a while. So not pure carnivore, right? But I'm still losing the weight. On average, I'm losing 2 or 3 pounds a week. But I hit stalls in there, but my clothes always fit looser even when I'm in a weight loss stall, so I know I'm putting on muscle. I'm much thinner today. I feel great. My knee is healed. My torn rotator cuff is healed. My diabetic ulcers are healed. Now that I'm on keto, the scars are starting to go away from them. The neuropathy that I had in my feet is nearly gone. The arthritis I had in my feet is pretty much gone. There's a little bit left in the one pinky toe. And my plantar fasciitis is gone. Although my calf muscles still get tight when I use them a lot, but I just stretch them out, but I don't have any of the pain underneath, right? So I'm healing, right? And so I did a video yesterday where I was walking around, and I didn't go into my complete medical history, so people didn't know. But one of the comments I got was from user LL 1 year 1 VEP 4Y, I don't know, some user, and he says, I'll listen to the rest of the video before commenting again. Okay. I went from 330 to my present weight of 178. Still too much. And that, you know, so I'm at a healthy weight with my height in the 190s, right? So 202 is my maximum for not being obese. So I'm happy with the 180s or 190s, and I'll get there. We all have a story, but this is mine. I eat something for breakfast every day, even if it's a couple slices of toast. I also learned that I love food way too much. I would have no problem scarfing down 4 or 5 pork chops at a sitting, along with all the mashed taters and gravy that could fit on the plate. I'm not your dad or doc, but there is no way you should be eating a 3-pound roast at one sitting. I don't eat it as roast. I slice it up and fry it out on the grill or fry it in bacon grease in a pan. But I don't care what diet you are on. There is way too much at one sitting. I like what you do and commend you for some of your technical insights you put out there. This is gonna hurt, but I need to say this. It doesn't hurt. You need to watch this video up to where I did and do some soul searching. I don't know where you watched the video to. You may realize that you are making excuses for some really bad habits that are literally killing you. This is from a guy that has been there and done that. I know this will fall on deaf ears for a while. It doesn't. I had those deaf ears. I will say also that hunger perceive is not because you need the food physically, because you have trained your gray matter to accept it as normal. And that is true when you eat carbohydrates. I still wish you all the best, but I believe you need to look deeper for the reason that you can eat 3 pounds of roast. By the way, I'm now 70 years old. Congratulations. And it took me until I was 60 and had bad back and pre-diabetes to come to the reckoning with myself. Diabetes is a threat that is gone because of the weight loss, but the back problems will always persist from carrying weight all those years. 5 compression fractures in my spine. I still smoke, and I think it would shock you how much I drink. I'm extremely lucky. Those nasty habits have not affected me much. Good luck on your journey. It will be a long one, but you will figure it out. So what I want to say, I just kind of read through this again now and make some comments. So it's good that he's from 330 pounds down to 170. That's awesome. Losing the weight is always good. And so he says he would eat something for breakfast every day, even if it's a couple slices of toast. And so the thing is on Carnivore is you just eat when you get hungry, and you're not hungry that often. Sometimes an entire day can go by. Sometimes it'll be 36 hours before I eat again. Sometimes I get hungry 3 times in a day. I just eat when my body says, you need to eat, you're hungry. How do you know that you're hungry? The food tastes good and you're hungry. It's not the same as being angry hungry, like when you need carbohydrates to get your sugar back up because you have an insulin response and your insulin is raging, your sugar's low, and that's really common in a pre-diabetic. They usually suffer from hypoglycemia before they suffer from hyperglycemia. Insulin comes up and up and up and up, like 10 times its normal level to get that sugar down. Sugar drops, and you still have high insulin. You get low blood sugar, you get hungry, you have to eat. I don't eat bread. I don't eat carbohydrates. I don't eat refined grains. A lot of people think that that's normal to eat bread, but wheat isn't even a plant that was designed by God. It was crossbred and designed by man, just like corn, just like broccoli, just like cauliflower. Like all these vegetables are things that God didn't create as plants. Humans crossbred them and created them, and they're exceptionally bad for you. Everything in them is bad for you. They're good survival foods. If you're starving to death and you need some type of calorie, that's fine. But you typically don't want to eat that. And I don't stop at 3 pounds of chuck roast sometimes. I've eaten up to 5. I eat until it doesn't taste good. And sometimes I just want a few hamburger patties and then I'm done. Sometimes I want to eat more. I just eat till it quits tasting good. And I'm like, ooh, I just can't eat anymore. I also learned I love food way too much. Yeah, when I was on carbohydrates, I love food way too much, right? Today, I don't care about food. I really don't. I get hungry, I eat some meat, and the rest of the day, I don't even think about food. I go out to eat lunch with people, or go out to lunch and eat with people, and I just sit there and have a glass of water or a diet soda, and I don't eat. It doesn't bother me that they eat. I don't want what they're eating. I'm not hungry. Like, hunger just isn't there. Like, you think about eating right then, you're kind of, ooh, I don't want to eat. You know? But when you're on carbohydrates, when you're eating slices of toast, you're going to get hungry all the time. You're going to get hungry, right? You're going to be in love with food, love with everything. Today, I'm not in love with food. I mostly just have to stop and eat because I get hungry and my body wants some food, but then I'm back to work and doing my thing. And I work a lot, right? Today I have the day off. I decided not to fix any cars. I decided not to fix any computers. I decided not to do anything and to just take a day off. But this will be the first day I've had off from actually doing some kind of work in more than a month. So I love food way too much. I have no problem scarfing down fortified pork chops. The fortified pork chops weren't your problem. All the mashed taters and gravy, that's your problem. It's the vegetables and the carbohydrates that are in mashed potatoes and the gravy and the cornstarch that the gravy's made from. That's your problem, right? You should have had 10 or 12 pork chops and skipped the mashed taters. You would have been fine. I'm not your dad or your dad. You're not my dad. My dad died when I was 18 years old from colon cancer after he had a double bypass. He ate sugar, biscuits and gravy quite a bit. I wish he was still here, but you know, it happens. No way you should be eating a 3-pound roast at one sitting. Yes, you should. I guarantee you, if you're eating that many mashed taters and all the side items with 4 or 5 pork chops, you ate 3 pounds of food. You just ate the wrong food. And you gain weight and you get sick, metabolically unhealthy. And metabolic unhealthiness from carbohydrates and seed oils comes in many forms. You can have multiple of these, you can have just one of these, right? You can have cardiovascular disease, heart disease, strokes. You can have type 2 diabetes. You can have obesity. You can have complications from the type 2 diabetes, which is like diabetic leg ulcers, leg amputations, going blind, kidney failure, right? You could have cancer, right? Most cancer only feeds off of sugar, off of glucose in your blood. So when your glucose is constantly high, it feeds the cancer cells first and they reproduce like crazy and it gets out of control. Your immune system can no longer take care of all those cancer cells. all kinds of autoimmune conditions. They come from seed oils. They come from high carbohydrates, right? That's why we see so many of them. We're seeing macular degeneration go from 1 in 11,000 to 1 in 12 people, or 1 in 11 people. And we know that's because of seed oils, but most people don't know because they don't tell anybody. Because they're making money selling Eylea shots for $2,000 a piece. And they're making money doing laser surgery, or laser, shooting your retinas with lasers and burning them. So these are all things that are caused by eating the wrong foods. No other mammal on the planet. I can go out and find lions, I can find tigers, I can find bears, I can find geese, all out in the wild eating what they've eaten for their entire ancestries. They're not diabetic, they're not getting cancer, they're not dying from heart disease, right? Humans have changed what they've eaten, especially recently. And instead of going out and killing the biggest, fattest animal we could find and only eating vegetables when we had a bad hunting day, now we're eating boxes of Lucky Charms and pieces of toast for breakfast and mashed potatoes and gravy. And we're getting sick. I like what you do and commend you for some of your technical insights you put out there. Well, thanks. This is going to hurt, Brett. I need to say this. Like I said, it don't hurt. You need to watch this video to where I didn't do some soul searching. Trust me, I've done plenty of soul searching. I tried for 3 years seeing all those doctors, really following the Diabetic Association diet, seeing nutritionists, and really trying, and it made me fatter and sicker than I ever been in my life. Trust me, I did a lot of soul searching. What I needed to do was not search my soul. I needed to start eating a proper human diet. So you may not realize you're making excuses for some really bad habits that are literally killing you. I have never really made excuses for it. I became diabetic and overweight because I drank Mountain Dew. I went to the Chinese buffet and ate rice and whatever, like, you know, sweet and sour chicken, and I had 10 plates of food, you know. That's why I became diabetic. I knew I needed to watch my carbohydrates, but it's just recently that I've learned you actually don't need a single carbohydrate to survive and thrive. You will die without eating meat, though. I had those deaf ears. I'm not deaf. That's the ungood thing. I mean, I'm still have a little eye problems from years of diabetic retinopathy and macular degeneration, but those are starting to go away now, or get better anyway. You train your gray matter to accept it as normal. So you don't need the food physically, but you have trained the gray matter to accept it as normal. So mammals do have to eat to survive. It's one of the things that we have to do. We have to have food, or eventually we die. It's about eating the right food. And your gray matter is going to tell you to eat that food. So it's important to realize there's 2 types of hunger that humans can have, right? There's sugar hunger, carbohydrate hunger, and there's non-carbohydrate hunger, right? I really believe this. And so what happens when we live in a tribe out in the middle of the woods? Once in a while, we come across the honey tree. We come across the raspberry bush where the berries are ripe. We come across the peach tree where the peaches are ripe. It's very rare. It only lasts a couple weeks, and then it's gone. It's rotten. We can't eat it anymore. The rest of the time, we either boil up some kale and try to eat that to just survive for another day when we have a bad hunting day. But typically, we went out and we killed the biggest, fattest animal we could find. We cut it up and shared it with the whole tribe, and everybody ate as much as they could till they were completely full. Okay? So, why do we crave carbohydrates so much? Well, because they were exceptionally rare to find in our history, right? I live in Ohio. If I didn't have access to truckers coming in with oranges from Florida every day, I couldn't go buy an orange. I would never have seen an orange. They don't grow in Ohio, right? So you eat what's local to you, what's available when it's available, right? And you get hungry. Your insulin spikes up, your sugar comes down, it stores it as fat. Then you get hungry again and you want to eat it again. Every couple hours, you're back there hitting the peach tree, eating some peaches. You put on 15 or 20 pounds. That's a survival mechanism. Carbohydrates aren't evil, right? They have been a necessary part of our survival in our ancestry, because you put on all this weight, these 15, 20 pounds, and it got you through winter when you couldn't go out and hunt because there was 6 feet of snow outside of your cave, right? It got you through the hard times. But we're not supposed to be eating Lucky Charms and slices of toast every day. We're not supposed to. We were never designed to do that. We were designed to primarily be meat eaters. So there's that type of hunger that just keeps sending you back to it, sending you back to the sugar, sending you back to the carbohydrates, right? And that's a hangry feeling, right? And you get angry if you can't eat. You get in a bad mood. You get headaches. You just feel crappy, right? You're like, I'm so hungry all the time. And then there's the proper human diet where you eat a bunch of meat and you don't get hungry for 24 hours, right? Or at least 16 hours, right? And you eat again when you get hungry again. You eat some more meat. And even when you get hungry, you're not hangry. Like, I can get hungry and I'm at work and it's 2 o'clock and I'm like, I don't want to go to lunch. I'll be home in 5 or 6 hours making dinner. I'll just eat that. And it's no big deal. I just go on with my day. That's a completely different kind of hunger. And there's a lot of people out there that have been eating carbohydrates and refined sugars for so long that they don't understand what that other kind of hunger is. They think that's unnatural. It's not normal. You should eat more often than that. You have to eat 3 times a day and have snacks. And that's just absolutely not true. That's not what we have done ancestrally as humans. That's what they have convinced us with their low saturated fat and their low cholesterol and their higher sugar diets and their whole grain carbohydrate recommendations. That's what they've convinced us since we were in elementary school with the food pyramid. But that's not true. That's not how we're supposed to eat. So there's that. There's 2 different kinds of hunger. So yeah, you get addicted to food, addicted to carbohydrates, and you just really want them and you crave them. That's a natural part of your ancestral survival instinct. But now that I'm on meat, food's not a big deal to me. I still wish you all the best, but I believe you need to look deeper for a reason that you eat a 3-pound roast. I ate a 3-pound roast because I'm hungry until I eat 3 pounds. And like, it's a 3-pound roast, but the dog got at least a half a pound. So, the dog's getting all muscular and ripped too. She was a stray that we adopted. She had a broken hip. She was starving to death. She was completely emaciated. Now she's big and strong and muscular and ripped because she eats meat with me. And nobody's like, oh, a dog shouldn't eat meat. Because the people know that dogs are carnivores. People know that cats are carnivores. But for some reason, we have to eat some whole grain oatmeal or something to be healthy, when we've typically been mostly carnivore. Our bodies are really good at surviving on whatever it can find, right, as a survival mechanism. But to really thrive and be healthy, you need to eat lots of meat. 70 years old now. Took me a while till I was 60. It's something I had back pre-diabetes. You have pre-diabetes. I have full-blown diabetes. I was extremely diabetic. And the back problems, having spine issues, broken spine, I don't know about that. I know that my knee, which was bone on bone, my torn rotator cuff, my back, all that's healed. My wife has gone from mostly keto to a more pure carnivore type of diet. She still has some cheese and cottage cheese and cream cheese and stuff now and then. She's a little more keto than I am. She's had back problems and had to be on painkillers for as long as we've been married. She hurt herself at work. She was working in a factory. And she goes to physical therapy. She does exercises. She gets MRIs on it every so often because they have to do that to give her the pain medication to prove that it's still bad. But since she's started eating more carnivore with me, her back is feeling a lot better. So there is that. You have things heal on your body when you start eating meat in just a month or two that you thought were permanent and were never going to heal. I still have a bad spot in my back, and it flares up every once in a while, and I get like sciatic pain going down my leg, but I just normally sleep and rest, and then it goes away. It only happens when I use it too much. Still smoke. I do too. I need to quit smoking. And as much as I drink, I don't drink. So drinking, basically, your liver has to deal with the alcohol. It processes alcohol much the same way it processes fructose. And it has to process through all that before it can get back into burning any fat. So I don't drink. I mean, I have drank before. I have been drunk before, but it's been, years since I've drank anything. Look at those nasty habits not affecting me much on. And good luck on your journey. It will be a long one, but you will figure it out. It has been a long one. It's been over 4.5 years now that I have been doing keto and carnivore. And carnivore works much better than keto did for me. And I'm very happy. And so the part where you said you don't need to eat that, it doesn't matter what kind of diet you're on, it's important to realize that I'm not on a diet. Like, most people think of a diet as something you do to restrict yourself, to restrict your calories, to lose the weight, and then you go back to eating normal food. I'm on this diet as a way of eating for the rest of my life. I will never go back to eating carbohydrates because I'll go blind. Number one, I'll get diabetic. I'll get sick again. Will feel like crap again. I don't see any problem with eating 3 pounds of chuck roast at a time for the rest of my life. I'm getting healthier. I'm getting thinner. I'm getting stronger. I'm feeling younger. I'm looking younger. I'm wearing a 2X shirt instead of a 6X shirt. I am feeling great. So there's no reason to go back to eating the crap that made me hangry all the time and made me feel like crap. And I have another comment. Let me find it. And this one came from old guy 3378. Hey, whatever works for you. If it's working for you, stick with it. But he said, I've been going with powder 3 times a day with 2% milk and lots of supplements. And lots is in all caps. Only real food is yogurt, apples, and walnuts. I need more exercise, but it is hot here now. Anyway, I'm down from 280 to 200 pounds in a year. Goal is 150. That's great. I think losing that much weight is awesome. I just could not. I don't know what kind of powder you're on. It's probably some kind of diet powder. I don't take any supplements or anything. I have in the past taken some extra potassium in the form of no salt that I put on my food, and I especially early on in the carnivore journey. But for the last 3 to 4 weeks, it's just been salt and meat. I mean, I don't have to take any supplements. I used to have to take ox bile when I ate a lot of fat, but for the last few weeks, I haven't needed any ox bile. And I had to do that because I had my gallbladder taken out, but my liver is learning to make more bile now, and it's fine. Yeah, and like 3 times a day, like if that's the 2% milk, especially with the lactose and the higher sugar content of 2% than is in whole milk, with the powder probably has some sugar in it, you're really, I mean, you've lost weight because you're restricting your calories, but that's not usually successful long term. So let me ask you this. When you get to a normal weight, do you want to continue eating that way for the rest of your life? Do you want to just continue on the powder and the milk for the rest of your life? Probably not. So it's going to be important to get onto a proper human diet at some point, or you're going to put the weight back on. And you're having a harder time burning the fat when your sugar's constantly high. See, your liver can be in freezer mode or oven mode, right? It can be storing the sugar away as fat in the freezer, right? Or it can switch modes and go into fat burning mode where it's cooking the stuff from the freezer and the stove, right? And the difference there is insulin. When your insulin comes up, your liver is in fat storage mode. It's not till the insulin drops down. There is a hormone in the body, I forget the name of it, that's in charge of removing insulin from your body when it's no longer needed. That hormone's secondary job is rebuilding connective tissue in your back and your joints. Yeah, so that's something to consider too. That's why all your joints heal. Only food is yogurt, apples, and walnuts. I mean, so yogurt, yeah, it's okay. I mean, especially if it's low carb, sugar free yogurt. I don't really do the dairy because it sidetracks me. It makes me feel kind of crappy, but some people do. Apples are a big no, and walnuts, they're a no for me because now that I eat right and I don't have any pain at all, like I rarely have any single pain anywhere in my body when I ate a bag of walnuts, and like a small little bag, not like a great big bag, but just like a little small single serving bag. The next day I woke up and my muscles ached. So I don't eat walnuts. But see, I used to be in so much pain that a little extra achy muscles, I didn't know where they came from or why. But now when I eat something that's not carnivore and I feel bad, I know that that's not a good idea to eat that. I need more exercise, but it is hot here now. So this is the other thing I want to talk about. Here comes the train. They're not supposed to blow their horns through town. We actually passed a law that trains can't blow their horns in town. That guy evidently didn't read the law. So, the exercise thing is a myth, right? I lost the vast majority of my weight doing no extra exercise, right? Now that I've lost the weight, I have more energy and I want to go get some exercise. I don't walk because I want to get exercise. I walk because I want to go see things and do things and have fun, right? And I consider it to be fun to get exercise and walk. It was extremely humid yesterday, as it is today, but not as humid. It was hard to breathe. It was hot, but I still walked. You know, it doesn't really bother me that much anymore. So exercise is like a 2% part of the problem, right? You burn, like most of the energy you burn with your internal organs and your brain, and a little bit of that energy goes towards making your muscles work. So making your muscles work and exercising doesn't really help you lose the weight. It's all about what kind of foods you're eating. Anyway, that's all I got for now. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper. Be happy, be healthy, eat a proper human diet, feel better than you've ever felt.